somebody.
No, it's a bit like, okay. So the problem with this analogy
Oh my god,
is
dude!
that,
Holy
hold on.
shit!
So if maybe I could get a word out. The problem with this,
You cut me off. I'm responding, but like everything you're saying, you've been cutting me off. You've been over talking me this
look,
conversation.
Bunk, I know you have a
Everybody else
very
has
big
heard
victim
you.
complex, but you
I'm
but
not
you need
being
to
a
calm down,
victim. You're the
okay?
one who's complaining about it, Prag. I don't have a victim complex. You're the
A
one
victim
victimizing yourself
complex.
in this conversation. You're saying you can't
You're
get
like,
a word out. You can't call other people victims whenever you're victimizing yourself. That's not how
no,
it works, Prag.
I haven't victimized myself once. I
Yes,
said
you
that you.
have.
I
I
said
said that
one
you've
that
overtalked
you.
me in response to you saying that I was overtalking you. You couldn't get a word out, right? And I said, well, that's not the case because you've been overtalking me in this conversation as well. It seems it's a mutual thing. And then you're saying that makes me that means I have a victim complex. Does saying you're getting cut off mean you have a victim complex or does it not, Prag?
Saying I'm having cut off. So number one, no, I'm saying that I thought you were pointing to the uncharitability, right? Which I think is like a fair reason to interpret. In fact, you said
No,
in a
that
conversation.
I said that you
In
were
fact, you have said
overtalking me. What
before.
do you
Hold on.
mean?
So you've said in a conversation where Piper was there, right? That even if you are uncharitable to me, it's justified. You said that in the gambling debate that we had, if you remember clearly. Okay?
No, I didn't say it was justified to be uncharitable to you. I said that you were uncharitable for me throughout the conversation, right? So I'm not going to steel man every single thing that you say. That's not being uncharitable. I'm like twisting your words, okay? You were saying dumb shit, and throughout the conversation, I argued with your point. I didn't argue with a point that you weren't making. I wasn't
Can I try to
strawmanning
moderate
you
for
throughout
just
the
a second
conversation.
to maybe move this
Go for
forward?
it.
So,
Yeah, go for it.
Prag, I don't think it's super vital whether or not I think it's understandable from Monk's perspective why that would be the case. Like why it would be the case that would be an important distinction, right? It's just that your position, I don't think it hinges too much on that. So you can maybe just move on and like just say like, yeah, oh, what I meant is just one example of a question, right? And then you can move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think in regards to like the broader tweet that I did today,
I,
I I think in terms of like the bankrolling of the Kiwi Farms thing, I think that's just like probably like bad under like a an effective altruist standpoint, right? There are like better things to like donate things to, right? I understand that Kiwi Farms has had technical problems or like tech problems, but it just seems to me that
I don't know why we're talking about kiwi farms, dude. This is completely outside of the conversation. What the fuck
Yeah,
do you
Prag,
want?
the core of your point right now is not defending the tweet, right? The core of your point
I
is
didn't even
not
bring
whether
up
or not
this
that was
tweet.
uncharitable, right? You were saying there was you're of the belief there's like Vosh the Destiny is kind of obsessed with Vosh and it's very one-sided. And I don't
Now
think
it's
Bunk
probably
disagrees with that.
one-sided. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
But
I
then
don't
we're
think
not
Bunk disagrees
agreeing
with
on
that.
anything.
No. Well, you gone. You died.
no.
Oh, you left the KYC.
No, it's just that it seems that at least like Bunk was definitely like liking some tweets like critiquing the tweet I had today. And
Okay.
so
Yeah, no, I
Prag.
made my
like,
critiques of the
pretty-
tweet of the original tweet that you reposted pretty clear, right? That it had like
It's
or
true.
at least
No,
earlier in this
everything
VC,
in
I was
there is
pretty
true.
clear.
In
So I
everything
can
in
say
there
things
is
that
true.
are technically true, but they can lead people towards a non-true conclusion, right? Those would still be bad statements to make.
Okay, so what thing did you say there that was untrue?
Did you not just hear what I said? I think this could be technically true and lead people towards an untrue conclusion. Now you're saying, what did she say that was technically not true?
Okay.
Did you hear what I said?
What untrue conclusion
Yeah,
do
sweet.
you
That like
think?
Destiny raped somebody, right? That would be like an untrue conclusion that's pretty easy to find throughout that tweet.
She didn't say that Destiny raped someone. She
She
said
didn't
he
explicitly
engaged
say it,
and
but she said
raped
that somebody that was a
Apologia,
sexual assault,
and-
right? And that has implications to most people. When most people hear that somebody has sexually assaulted somebody, they're thinking something around the lines of rape. Right? They're not thinking grabbing somebody's boobs while you're drunk. There's no hard healing.
Definitionally.
Oh my god,
assault.
you're saying that I'm strawmanning you. You keep going back to like, well, it's technically true, right? I already said it's technically true. I'm saying though that there needs to be clarification around that, or you lead people towards a conclusion that is not true.
I'm sorry that Gwen couldn't do a clarification in a tweet with 150 characters. I'm so
No,
sorry.
she
about
100%
that.
can. You can make tweet threads. What do you mean? That's so easy.
Okay,
It's
I
literally
don't
a
think
plus
it's
button. You can
particularly-
type tweet threads.
Hold on.
It's
So I
so
don't think
simple.
like that.
What do you mean?
So I don't think that's even like really necessary here. I think
I'm literally.
I think Destiny can be regarded as a sexual assaulter. I think absolutely he can be regarded as that. Just
So
like
you keep.
definitionally
So
true.
this is the problem, Prag. You're saying that everybody else is being uncharitable, but you're not actually engaging with my argument. You're explicitly trying to like strawman what I'm saying here. So what I'm saying is that while it might be technically true that it falls under a definition of sexual assault, the implications of a tweet like that is more along the lines of like raping somebody or forcefully penetrating them. Whenever people say sexual assault, that's something that people's minds are going to go to. and you make that statement with no clarification whatsoever, that's going to be what people are going to have their minds going towards. Especially if you accompany it with like the rape apologia thing. If what he's actually doing is he groped someone's boobs at one point in time, and there was no hard feeling. They both ended up laughing about it afterwards.
No,
it was
that's
definitely
not
something
true. If you look at the tweet that she said about it, it wasn't that they laughed. It was laughed about afterwards. That's just like not true, Bunk. You can't
Which
like
tweet
have
are we
that
talking
interpretation.
about? I swear to God,
Dingo
I've seen the
linked it.
clip. I'm 99.9% sure that they both end up laughing.
Okay, Dingo like wrote it down in like
Yeah.
the thing. It was years ago. But I chalked up.
Oh, you mean the tweet that's like now that was
Being
more
young.
recently made?
Being young, everyone had too much to drink, and I wanted to around those people to get my name out. I know Destiny is toxic, but I have no issues with him. I do have
no
issues with him spreading the the wrong info. So the issue about.
So what about that contradicts the idea that they laughed about it in the clip? What about that contradicts that?
If you are being sexually assaulted by someone, who's a popular figure, you may want to laugh about it because you think the repercussions.
So what I said was true, right? What I said was true.
Hold on. If I can please finish.
Well, no, you just said I don't want you to finish because everything you blabber on, you don't actually get to
I
the
know
point,
you.
right?
I know you don't actually care about actually making sure we understand the situation properly.
Well, no, I understand the situation. The problem is that you're trying to intentionally
obfuscate it. Right? You absolutely have no idea that the power dynamics between her and Destiny are extremely large, number one. You don't seem to understand that bit.
When did I say that? When did I say that?
It's implied in your statement that you don't understand.
No, it's just not, right? Like I said that they both end up laughing about it afterwards. There definitely was some kind of power dynamic between them. But it was not a clip where it was like, oh yeah, he came up to somebody on the street and sexually assaulted them, right? It was more so a situation where it was like, okay, they push boundaries.
Why does it need to be why does it need to be that for us to take the situation seriously?
Nobody said that, Prag. Who the fuck said that?
It's implied in your statement, and that's the problem.
You keep saying things are implied in my statement that aren't, right? That nobody else would understand my statement to be, right? I still said it was a wrong thing to do. In fact, I said that in this conversation. I don't know if you missed it. You're not really listening to me. You're not actually arguing with me. You're arguing with some extra person in this call who's making somewhat vaguely unrelated points to what I'm saying. So when it comes to this situation, I'm saying that it is not nearly on the level of what most people would think whenever they hear that somebody sexually assaulted somebody, right? That's not what their minds go to whenever I say somebody committed sexual assault.
I don't think it's necessary for her. I don't think that is necessary for her to one, put the tweet up, and number two, I don't think she's anything morally wrong by her putting the tweet up.
But if you're going to make a statement, there should be, at the end of the day, there should be a leading towards some kind of truth statement most of the time.
Destiny's a bad person. That's the truth statement. Destiny's a bad person. That is the truth.
No, but there's also another statement that he raped somebody. That's implicitly there, right?
No, not that he raped someone. That he sexually
assaulted somebody in a way that
someone.
wasn't groping somebody in a way that kind of pushed boundaries, right? Those are different things.
I reject the idea that most people, when they hear the word sexual assault, only think of rape. I would doubt that.
You don't think that most people, when they hear sexual assault, think of something a little bit more severe than groping somebody's boobs in a way that's a little bit boundary pushing, right?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, so you're just insane. You're just crazy.
Wait. I highly encourage you. Sexual assault can include lots of things.
It can include a lot of things. That doesn't substantiate your point that most people think that, right?
Hold on. So, just so we are clear, sexual assault can include pinning a woman down on the wall and making out with her. Sexual assault can also include massively groping her,
right? So,
it could include fingering her, for example. These are all things that sexual assault could include. Right?
Yeah, it could also include pushing somebody's boundaries with sexual comments, right? Or right? That could be a thing.
Sexual assault. Isn't that under sexual harassment? I'm pretty sure that's sexual harassment and sexual assault, right?
Was it, okay? Hold on. What was the exact wording of the tweet? Pull out the exact wording.
It was sexual assault. Was the tweet? It wasn't sexual harassment.
Do we have the tweet up? Are you looking at it?
Give me a second.
Yeah, sexual assault. Okay. So, but that could also include a lot of other things, right? So, for example, pushing somebody's boundaries with the kind of touchy-feely things. For example, if I slap my friend on the ass, right, he doesn't like that. That could be sexual assault, right?
If you don't have his consent to do it, it is sexual assault.
So yeah, but if I slapped my friend on the ass 5 years ago, right, which I did, and let's say he didn't like it, do you think it would be okay for somebody to say, yeah, Bunk sexually assaults people?
not sexually assaults people, but that he sexually assault
You think that there's no implication there that might be a little bit misleading? Nothing comes to your mind.
Well, to be honest, he sexually assaulted two people, right? He sexually assaulted Hassan, and he sexually assaulted this woman. So
I don't want you to obfuscate it. I'm trying to pin you on this point, okay?
Wait. I think if you've sexually assaulted more than one person, the statement that he sexually assaults people, I think is perfectly fine.
Okay, let's say that I sexually assaulted somebody. Don't you think that would be a little bit of a bad statement to make without clarification?
A bad statement to make without clarification?
Yes.
No, because it's sending.
Okay, so you're literally just fucking insane.
No.
There's no getting through.
People should probably not engage with you sexually if you have sexually assaulted someone, right? I don't think that's.
If I slapped my friend on the ass when I was like 15, you think that would be like a thing?
Yeah, I think that should be taken seriously. I do not believe, because the implication here obviously is that the guy's like a dude, right? I'm guessing. So I absolutely think that should be taken equally as serious as Destiny groping a woman's boobs.
You're actually just fucking crazy. If you think that somebody slapping their friend on the ass is like, you should then go on to describe them as somebody who has sexually assaulted somebody, right? With no extra clarification whatsoever. And you don't see how that could possibly lead people.
Yes,
oh my god, shut the fuck up.
With
Well, I know you're completely fine with it because you're a crazy person who has crazy person opinions, right? But for almost every single other person would understand that leads people to untrue conclusions, right?
I think if you've sexually assaulted someone, right, it's okay to call that person a sexual assaulter. I do not think that we need to cushion that person.
There's any time where that could lead people to untrue conclusions.
Well, no, I'm a utilitarian, and so obviously I believe that there probably are times. I just believe this isn't one of them.
Hold on. There's no way you just tried to duck the question like that. Do you think I was asking for a categorical rule where I say something like, okay, what if you had to say somebody sexually assaulted somebody to save the world, right? Do you think I was asking that, or do you think I was asking a really basic examples of for example, when I'm describing people?
I'm going to make sure I'm going to make sure that my statement is clear and that people don't think I'm making a categorical rule.
Weren't you the one who said that making sure statements are clear was that was a bad thing to do in this conversation when I corrected you on the rose wrist thing? Which one of those two is it? Which one of those two do you actually believe?
No, okay, so it's not that I think that making statements is incredibly clear is a bad thing. It's that I think that if someone is making, hold on, you want me to answer the question, so why not let me answer the question?
Well, no, you're not answering the question. That's why I'm interrupting.
I am.
I'm making sure you answer the question. You're saying things that are untrue about the situation. I'm asking you to actually answer the question. I don't want to hear you ramble.
You're not doing anything.
10 minutes, spit it out.
You're the one that's rambling right now. So I think in the situation,
I just want you to answer a question.
So, I think in a situation where I am making a statement, where a person is making a statement, and you go, well, actually, it was it wasn't lots of times. It was only one times, right? I think that is a little bit shitty because I think the best interpretation. I think the best interpretation of that statement would probably make people believe it was one time. Well, I think in the situation, right? Well, I am making sure my word. No, wait, please let me finish. I am
the problem
saying the statement.
I'll respond to every single wrong thing that you say because you shotgun off 30 different points that are completely wrong, and I have to respond to all of them. And then we're already.
I'm sorry, we all don't debate like Destiny, like you learnt to do. So
what do you mean?
Okay.
We all I like to take things point by point. It's that's not owning me. It's just that my points can stand up on their own and yours can't. So you feel the need to shotgun them all off.
Okay, no, I'm not shotgunning a bunch of.
Well, no, you literally just complained about me saying you were shotgunning off points, and then you said that's because I debate Destiny.
Can I just
I'm sorry, dude. I want to take it point by point. I don't want to just rattle off a bunch of really shitty points. You're literally complaining about me saying that you shouldn't gish gallop, and you're saying that I'm debating Destiny, as though it's dishonest.
This is what you do to Aiden, right? This is what you do to Aiden, okay? You sit there and you want to debate, if someone says don't cut me off, you want to debate that. If someone this is what you do, right?
Aiden? No, I'm just saying you shouldn't gish gallop.
Not that you debate like Aiden. This is what you do to lots of people. It's if they say, "Hey, don't cut me off," or "Hey, don't do this," then you want to debate that when it's not necessary.
No,
right?
You're the one who. I'm just asking you not to gish gallop off, and because it's such a crutch for you, you can't possibly have a conversation where you can't write off 40 different points.
Okay,
you can deny that, but you're the one bitching about not being able to rattle off 40 different points.
So
now you want to move on? Okay. What do you want to talk about now?
I've been trying this whole time to finish this statement. So, okay, but when it comes to what when it comes to something I am saying, I don't think it's particularly bad for me to be as clarifying as possible. Right? The first objection was to charitability. The second one is that I want to make sure that what I'm saying is as clear as possible, so people don't get
So
misinterpretations.
the problem is by responding in that way to me, saying I'm not going to make a categorical rule, right? Like that, I'd say that's probably like a fine thing to say, but I do think it misses the point of my statement. Well, in your situation, it was a clear implication. It wasn't even an implication. I think it was an explicit statement that there was more than one question when that wasn't the fact of the matter, right? Now, one of these you had problems. You had a problem with me actually clarifying the fact of the matter. You had a problem with that.
Yes,
that made
because
you
I thought
complain.
based on the ability of based on uncharitability.
It's
That's
not
why I had the
uncharitable to make
problem.
sure that you're working in the realm of truth, Prag.
I think the most charitable interpretation of my words would be that it was one, right? I don't think there's need to nitpick.
Questions. You think that charitable? That's a completely different statement, Prag. Saying a question and questions. Those are
What are
two
you
different
talking
things.
about?
That those are you deny that those are two different things.
What are two different things?
A question and questions.
A question and questions. I think in what I was saying, it could be interpreted as a question, even if I said questions. I think if there was a charitable interpretation of what I was
If
saying.
I completely just didn't listen to you, then maybe I could make a completely different interpretation. The problem is that's so far outside of the statement that you actually made to the point where there's no reason for me to do it. Right? If we're talking about communicating the underlying facts of the matter, and you say something that is empirically not true, right? That's just false, and then I correct you on that. That's not being uncharitable, Prag.
It's it's nitpicking over semantical
It's not
differences.
nitpicking over semantics. It's working in the realm of reality, Prag.
You're acting so gay right now. Are you?
I'm acting gay. You're complaining over the most basic of shit. I'm just asking you. I asked you not to gish gallop, and you had a fucking fit over it. Okay, you're the one who's acting gay here.
Hold on.
I just want to get down to the point.
Okay. So a fit would be this, right? A fit would be, "Oi, you can't say that about me." That would be a fit. I'm talking extremely calmly right now, and you were like, you were trying to nitpick over every
You think you're acting calm and rational right now?
Yeah, I said you're being extremely gay, as in you're being extremely gay about every single slight word that's being used.
Okay, you've owned me, dude. What's your point?
Whether it fits exactly into definitions, you know.
What's the point you want to get to?
I don't even know what the point is anymore because you've gone on
Of course you
so
don't know
many
what the point
roads.
is. You have no fucking idea what you're trying to prove here.
No, it's not that I have no idea about what I'm trying.
Well, no, I literally just asked you what your point was, and you said you don't know what the point is.
We have gone on so many different.
Or is that an uncharitable interpretation as well?
This is I guess this is your brain on DGG, isn't it? So I guess
this is your brain on fucking crack, Prag. You sound insane. You complain about people correcting you.
So your point about it arriving to untrue statements. Obviously, we've just reached an impasse here. Because I believe
it's just like everybody else understands that that's what people will go to whenever we say sexual
I don't think everyone else.
Everybody else understands. Hold on, real quick. You'll get your turn. So everybody else understands what it means that we probably shouldn't just say, oh yeah, this person sexually assaulted somebody whenever they slapped their friend on the ass when they were 15, and you think that's a totally okay statement to make that doesn't.
He wasn't 15. He wasn't 15.
Well, no, but I asked you about the situation when they were 15, and you agreed with that one too. So that was a statement you made as well. Stop trying to obfuscate the point.
This is a constant thing which DGGs do all the time.
I asked you a question. You agreed with it to stay consistent. No, I asked you a question about my scenario. You tried to stay consistent, so you answered and you bit of a fucking ridiculous bullet, and now I'm holding you to account for what you said. I know you have a real hard time when people actually hold you account. Oh, hold on, you'll get your turn. You'll get your turn, buddy. You'll get your turn, buddy. You'll get your turn, buddy.
Okay? Because what you do is you spam your microphone every time you're held to account.
I'm not spamming my mic. I'm trying to get a word out, dude.
Right now, but what I'm not going to let you.
I'm just saying I'll let you talk after this, okay?
Beginning of my character, I'm not going to let you do that.
Well, no, I'm not impugning your character. I'm saying something that's true. I'm talking. Are you complaining about? I'm talking through you. You interrupted me, dog. Okay.
No, I'm not going to let you get away with saying something that's just absolutely untrue.
Well, no, you did say that you would be okay with people saying I sexually assaulted somebody with no extra context, right? You did say that you would be okay with that. That is untrue.
In that analogy, the 15-year-old, I never heard the word 15 used in that analogy.
Well, no, I said years ago, right?
Okay, so don't bring an age into it. Okay, just say years ago.
Well,
then.
no, I did say years ago. No, I did say years
No,
ago
no,
in my
you said
situation,
15.
right?
In your analogy, you said in your analogy the words 15 was used. That is categorically untrue.
Well, no, I
Okay?
didn't say that, right? I said something that would lead you to that conclusion, right? So I said 5 years ago. That's what I said.
5 years ago,
Like
are
around
you talking
5
about
years
your
ago.
own self? For 15-year-old, I
Yes.
never bit that bullet. I never bit that bullet.
Yes,
Okay?
you did. Everyone else heard you. I know you're gonna try and backtrack
No,
on it now, but
you
everybody
used
else
the
heard you.
word
If you'd like to
15.
go
You
back
used
on
the
your
word
statement, that's fine. I'll let you do
You
it
used
because
the
I'm being
word
nice.
15. You used the word 15. I never said that a 15-year-old.
Well, why not? They sexually assaulted somebody, Prag. Prag, they
Huh?
sexually assaulted somebody. Why not?
Okay, because why it is technically true that they sexually assaulted someone. However, the age differences in terms of moral culpability that we've described
No, really?
But the
Because
difference
it's technically
is- but the
true,
difference
it
is-
leads people to an untrue conclusion. You're
Can you
so
stop-
right about that,
Can
Prag.
you
You're
please
so
let me
goddamn
finish?
right about that. Okay,
Oh
all right,
my
that's
God,
great. You
can
can see
you
to the
please
argument.
let
Where do
me
we go
finish?
now?
No. But because the moral culpability of a 15-year-old would be different from like a 26-year-old, which Destiny was at the time. Oh, thank God he's fucking. So the moral culpability, right, of a 15-year-old versus a 25, 26 he was at the time is completely different.
It's a true statement though, Prag. To recite your words back to you, right? It's a true statement.
Yes, but it serves no utility.
You're right. You're right. It doesn't serve
But it does
utility
serve
to lead people
utility.
to untrue conclusions most of the time, right?
Oh, but it does because there is no
But we're
reduction.
leading people
I
to
don't
an
believe.
untrue
No.
conclusion when we're just describing something as sexual
You are
assault, whenever
so
it's really probably more
retarded.
tame than
Oh
most
my
people think.
gosh.
I'm not the retarded one here. You're the one who can't track what you were saying. I'm holding you to account what you said in this conversation.
Okay,
You bitch
so
about it
no.
every single time. I'm
No, I
not the one
haven't
who's
bitched about that
retarded.
at all. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about
What
the
I
time that you had a complaint about rose wrist, and I'm also talking about the time where I directly made an analogy. Everybody else understood that it was like a younger person, right?
Yeah,
I used myself as an example. Everybody else understood that you didn't, and then I held you account for biting that bullet, and you complained about it. And now I'm holding you to account for the fact that you said that it was if something's technically true, like we should probably be able to say it, right? I'm holding you to account for that. You're complaining about all three of these things at the same time.
cool story, bro. So
Well, it's not a cool story. It's like it's just what happened in this conversation. I know it's like really frustrating for you to like. Everybody else heard you. I don't know. You're trying to like hand wave it.
I'm not okay. So the reason it wouldn't serve utility is because the main reason it doesn't serve utility in the 15-year-old situation is because of the moral culpability we can assign to a 15-year-old.
Well, no.
Right?
That's
can you
not
please
valid,
let
right?
me finish? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go for it, buddy.
So in the case of the 15-year-old, it's a very different moral culpability from the case of the 26-year-old. So that's why it doesn't serve utility. In Destiny's case, it serves utility to call him a sexual harasser because it happened when he was 25, 26.
What utility does it serve?
It tells people that it's probably unwise to engage in sexual actions with Destiny, and that more broadly, that Destiny's a pretty bad person. That Destiny's a bad person, and we probably should not associate ourselves with him.
So, do you think that that whether Destiny's a bad person or not is a binary thing? I think there's like worse and better people, right?
I think Destiny's a bad person.
That's what do you mean by question binary? I asked you.
What is the question? I don't understand the question.
I know you don't understand many things. So what I asked you was, do you think that it's binary whether someone's a bad or a good person or not, or do you think there's probably more nuance to than that, like be like worse and better people?
I believe there's a gradient, but I do believe that Destiny. I do believe in terms of liberal and leftist streamers, Destiny is the worst.
Well, you know, you believe that. You believe a lot of really stupid shit, though, right?
Actually, no. That is not a position I hold. That's a position a lot of people in this KFC server hold. So
I'm so happy for you, buddy. I'm so happy for you.
No,
Every single time that you say that other people hold positions, though, it seems that whenever I talk to them, they don't hold that position, right? You just kind of like
so hold on. Destiny absolutely is one of the worst liberal and leftist streamers. Like
one of the worst or the worst. The worst.
One of the worst in terms of the low bar.
So that's a different
low
position.
bar. Right?
Right. It depends on
no, Destiny's enough of a bad person that his impact is so negative.
Oh my god, I just want to get to the point, Prag. I just want to get to the point. Can you stop having your spurg out real quick? Right.
Well, I'm sorry. Bunk, I can't hear you. Bunk, I can't hear you. Maybe if you like take your mouth out of like Destiny's cock, maybe I would hear you more.
My mouth out of Destiny? You mean Destiny's cock out of my mouth? God, that was just as stupid as everything else you've said today. What the fuck
That's
are you on?
stupid.
Oh my
I know.
God.
I know you think
So-
it's really stupid that people are upset that Destiny wants to donate to Kiwi Farms, and I think it's really stupid that Destiny
When
would
did
hang
when
up on
did,
its
when did
content
I
launch
say
cover.
that?
I know you think it's really stupid that people are upset about that.
This is the
really
peak shareability you're talking about whenever you have
I know you
conversations,
think it's really
right?
upset. I know
Where
you think
you're just making shit up.
I know you think that it's really stupid for people to be upset about Destiny raping people. I know you think it's really stupid that people are upset
No.
about Destiny's statements on stealthing, which are rape apology. Okay,
So everything you just said was untrue, right? These aren't my actual positions. You're just making shit up for the conversation, just to clarify.
it's like, here's what you do all the time.
So
we're
not going to clarify because you know you're
here's
making
what you
shit
do.
up,
Here's
right?
what you do all the time.
Here's
you
what
go,
I do all the time. Here's
even
what
though
you do
these
all the
things
time.
that
You make
Destiny
shit up that
did,
nobody has actually
even
said,
though
and it's so
even though
obvious to
there are
everybody
these
else in the
things,
VC.
even though there are these things that Destiny has done that's really bad, I cannot bring myself to call him a bad person because I have an
Who the fuck
ideological
said that?
commitment. You do. You can't
When
bring
did I
yourself
say
to call
that?
Destiny a bad person. Every
No,
time
Destiny
there's a
probably
comment
is a bad person. He's probably a really shitty person, actually. I think Destiny did a lot of shitty things.
every time I remember the debate
Is that the statement that I couldn't make, Prag? Everybody else knows my position here. You just
you
don't,
need,
right? Because
need
you
to
have no
drag
ability
the
to listen to
topics
anybody
mainstream
else in the
to, make
conversation.
those statements. That's your problem, Bunk.
I literally
okay?
just made the statement. Everybody heard me make the statement. I've made the statement before. You're just schizophrenic,
Never heard
Prag.
you
You're just
made this statement.
insane. Everybody else has heard me make the
I am
statement.
an insane person. When you are the person currently defending Destiny, okay, is like laughable.
Well, you're the person constantly like attacking Destiny with just like random shit that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like,
wait, I'm attacking a Destiny.
This is like
I'm
saying,
attacking...
oh yeah, did you know that Hitler killed 60 million Jews? And somebody comes in and says like, hey, Hitler killed like 6 million. Okay, it was pretty fucked up, but it was like 6 million, right? And then you say, why the fuck are you defending Hitler? It's like, no, I just have a commitment to like some things that are like generally true, right? I don't like to make shit up.
It's just that, right? In order for if there's like on a leftist on a panel, right, and we're like two leftists and there's a bunch of right wingers around, right, and someone gets the numbers wrong, I'm not going to go out of my way to correct him, right? That seems
I know,
like
because you don't really care that much about the truth, Prag. You said yourself that you're a partisan hack who doesn't have like any you're telling to everybody else about their ideological commitments, but you're a partisan hack, self-admittedly.
Hold on. So Bunk, number one, okay? In that scenario, it holds no utility for me. All it does is make the left look bad.
No, it 100% does serve utility, and I would 100% correct somebody on the data. No, I 100% would, because the problem is that if you don't correct somebody on the data, you have somebody else to like make your side look bad. Of course, you correct somebody on the data. If you're in a 2v2 debate, it doesn't make them look any worse, right? You just say like, actually, no, well, you probably just misspoke. It was actually like a different number, right? Of course, you would do that in any type of debate. Whenever you have a 2v2 with somebody, you're not you're not gonna let them get like fucking lambasted for getting their data wrong.
Why, Bunk, and here's what I know about you. I know this to be true. If there was a
you don't know many things. Let's see if this one's true.
Let's say the Democratic Party did something really shitty, like they actually sent the FBI to Trump's house, and like there was no justified reason for doing it. But let's say us broadly as the left going after that would like cause the Democratic Party to lose. You do it. And that's actually
the problem is it just wouldn't cause the Democratic Party to lose.
No,
it's like saying it's like saying okay, but like if you had to rape a baby to save the world, like you would rape the baby. Like so you would rape babies, right? Like that's the type of person that you are. It's like, well, no, you just added a qualifier there that have obviously made it like not true, right?
This is called adult politics, right? And in adult politics,
your juvenile ideas, every conversation that we've had.
Your juvenile ideas about categorically always of the truth always leads to maximum utility.
When I say categorically, always the truth leads to utility. I would be willing to defend the idea that it doesn't lead to utility to make like statements that clearly lead people down to like a bad path. Even from your perspective, it doesn't actually make any sense, right? People end up saying things about Destiny that just aren't true, and then it makes people who detract from Destiny look like insane people, like crazy people, right? We probably should make the best arguments against Destiny, not the worst ones. I know that you probably disagree with that though, because the arguments you make against Destiny are pretty fucking shit, right? And this conversation has been
the arguments. Okay, so hold on. So okay, I think the arguments against Destiny of him wanting to fund Kiwi farms, of him wanting to
you could bring up other arguments that aren't the case, right? But making this statement will lead people to say that like Destiny raped somebody, right? It'll lead down to like statements like Keffel's making, right?
No, it's not.
It does, right? If it instills somebody's mind, hold on, just real quick, okay, you can quiet down. So if we say make statements I would lead people towards untrue conclusions about destiny. They are likely to parrot those untrue conclusions. If they parrot those untrue conclusions, it makes people who detract from destiny look like fucking insane, crazy people. It's already happened with Keffals, for example. People say like untrue, weird, fucking wild shit about destiny, and you get to the point where people are making detractions from destiny that just aren't
Why are we
true.
talking about Keffals now? Why are we talking about Keffals now? I'm confused.
As an example of people making as an example, it was pretty obvious in the conversation. I guess.
Oh, why do we need to bring Keffals into like every single?
Because it's a really good example.
It's very weird.
No, it's not weird. Everybody else understood how to use the Keffals example
like,
here, except for you.
No, but it's like she
Oh my god, did I offend your queen, Keffals? I'm sorry. Do you want me to get down and pray?
It's like,
I'm sorry, dude. Like, I get that you don't like it when people make fun of Keffals.
No, this is more of a thing of like,
everybody else understood how I used the analogy. No, the analogy was an example. It's not even an analogy.
DGG moment. Because
what do you mean
DGG
it's a DGG moment?
Wait. If I can explain, the DGGers will often do this with like Vosh, right? Every time it'll come up to bringing up an example of like someone who they think is
like
a liar.
That other thing that happened that one time.
They always bring up Vosh, and you and the commentary people do the same thing with Keffals. Every time, the only bad person you can think of is Keffals. This is
I can think of a bunch of other bad people. It's just Keffals is like the biggest high-profile example of this. Unless you have another example, you would have
high-profile example.
You're complaining so much about me using Keffals because you're so goddamn offended about it. You like every single time you're the person to first defend Keffals in these VCs, and I'm literally bringing it up as an example, saying it's like objectively true that is false about Destiny, right? To make that statement is a false statement to be made. And you're already bitching about it. You're complaining about it. So you're talking about how I'm like juvenile. You can't even have a grown-up conversation, but you don't fucking bitch and spurg out at the most basic example.
Okay, Kiwi Farms words, cool. So the fact of the matter is that I'm never the one who brings up Keffals. Well, hardly ever. Let me clarify.
No,
hardly
you're the one who defends Keffals from crazy, absolute crazy arguments.
Well, they're not really crazy arguments. I believe that Keffals serves a net utility, and so I believe.
No. The arguments that you've made have been like crazy shit, just against utilitarian calculus. You had an entire spread out about Phoenix, like for example. But I don't want it to get derailed into personal drama. Everybody else in the server has seen the types of things that I'm referring to, and I don't even have to prove them. Right? Everybody else has seen it happen. Okay. If you want to deny those conversations, you can. You just look like the insane person. Everybody else in the VC. Okay, so you don't deny those conversations. So it's very obvious that you have made kind of absurd arguments in defense of Keffals.
Give me a second. Okay. So, the idea that you would sort of like bring up like recent personal drama that I guess involved a lot of hurt is just like a really shitty thing to do, Bunk. I'm just gonna like put that out there.
The fuck do you mean? You're literally the person who has brought up my stalking experience multiple different times. What do you mean? Like I'm bringing up something you asked. Like you asked about my statement.
Personal drama. This is what you wanted to do all along, wasn't it, Bunk? You don't actually care about the Destiny subject.
Well, no, I do care about it. That's why I debated Synth on it. I actually did debate Synth earlier in the VC about it. You can say no, but Synth was there for the conversation. You're just insane. You're a crazy person who projects herself onto everybody else.
So the idea, so you only want to debate me because you don't want to debate me on the actual Destiny subject. You want to debate me on your own hurt feelings. This is what it's
Nobody
been about
else
all
here
along.
has hurt feelings besides you. You were the one who said you had hurt feelings about me bringing up the Phoenix conversation as an example.
Not hurt
where you
feelings.
No, you literally did. You literally said that you like had hurt feelings over that.
No,
that it was really shitty for me to bring that up.
I said there was hurt feelings about that.
Please just let me get the words out. You're making like all these accusations towards me. You just weren't true, right? So I'm just gonna talk through you. Okay? It seems like I have to talk through you to get through this conversation. So when you complained about me bringing up the Phoenix example as an example of where you could defended fucking Keffals like with some absurd ass argument. I merely brought up Keffals for the sake of the conversation, an example of a time where somebody is detracted from Destiny and looked really, really bad, right? And that these types of statements could clearly lead to that. If people hear things about Destiny which are not true, they are likely to parrot those untrue things. Or if they hear things that imply things about Destiny that are untrue, they are likely to parrot untrue things and make people who detract from Destiny look insane. That's why I care about being able to criticize Destiny on actual good arguments, not these fucking crazy people things that you say.
Okay, so number one, okay,
All right, sweet.
is that this conversation is not about Keffels, this conversation about Destiny, and I would like if we could keep it to Destiny without it getting derailed.
Well, yeah, I brought up Keffels as an example of the time that somebody is detracted from Destiny, right? Right on topic, and then you complained about it, and you bitched and you whined
Yeah,
about it.
because
We
it's
were only
going to
talking
get
about
into
Keffels because
conversations
you're the
about
one who got
Keffels.
hyperfixated on Keffels.
And I would disagree with you on those subjects. So
You would
we can
disagree
probably
with
move
me on
on.
the idea that Keffels saying that Destiny stealth somebody is an untrue statement that made Keffels look really bad? You would disagree with that?
I would disagree with that, but I wish
Oh
you were
my
willing to
god,
have,
you're a
but I
crazy
wish you were.
person.
Hold on,
You're just
hold on,
insane.
hold on.
Like, there's
Just
nothing I can
you
do.
just-
This is like arguing with somebody who's like delusional and has schizophrenia. Of
Let
course
me-
you
wait,
believe there's
I
an
agree
imaginary
with
friend
you.
in the room.
I
Like,
agree.
what the fuck
Wait,
do I do?
I agree with you that Keffels lied, but also it just seems a little bit weird that you
Okay,
weren't
it was
ever as hard on
untrue then.
Destiny for literally pedo jacketing. I'm a trans person who was giving.
I
we were just
literally
giving
did go hard on Destiny. I did that on stream.
You never
Dingo,
did.
Dingo, did I debate you on that subject? Just
10
real quick,
seconds.
Dingo, can you unmute?
It was a 10-second debate.
No, it wasn't a 10-second debate. It was like a 20-minute debate actually, and it made Dingo look really, really bad. Dingo, did I debate you on that topic?
Which topic to do with
The Bob
Destiny?
posting shit. The Bob posting shit on stream. You came on. You tried to
yeah,
defend it. I said it
pretty
was really bad.
heavily. Yeah, ouch. That hurt my feelings. You shouldn't have done that. You should have taken my side.
I guess we're not real
That's weird,
friends.
Prag. It's like you're making statements about me that just aren't true. These are just false claims. You just make shit up in a conversation.
The idea that you have spoken as much about the Destiny Bob posting situation, have you spoken about the Destiny like
Because
pedophile-
nobody's defending
like
the
that?
Destiny Bob posting situation in this Discord server. You're defending the crazy shit about Keffels. Of
No,
course we're
I'm
gonna debate you
I'm
on it.
saying-
That's like saying I don't talk
I'm
about
saying-
Ben Shapiro much in this Discord server. Of course, because we all agree on it. We all agree that it's bad.
I'm saying that the critique towards Keffels
Jewish people bad?
over the Destiny
Yes.
accusation versus right the concentration towards the Bob posting is disproportionate.
Because
Right?
it actually is directly proportionate. Because nobody disagreed with my take on the Bob posting situation except for Dingo. I debated Dingo. A lot of people disagreed with my take about the Keffels things. I debated a lot of people, right? That's actually exactly proportionate. I debate people when they disagree with me. If more people disagree with me, more debates will happen.
Why do
That is
you have the
proportionality.
same hatred towards Destiny that you have towards Keffels? It makes no sense.
What do you mean the hatred? I just say true statements about the two of them. I don't feel hatred towards any of them. I don't have personal interactions with either of them.
There is, I think, malice, definitely, that, and callous.
What malice
that
do I
comes
have?
out
You're
of-
the only one who here has been making untrue statements about people in order to try and, like, make them look worse. Nobody else here has that malice except for you, Prag. You've been projecting this entire conversation.
Okay, so for example, I'll give you an example, right? So if Destiny had been docked, I would have taken that extremely seriously, and I would have called
If
for Kiwi
Destiny
Farms to have
what?
been. If Destiny had been doxed, and he has been from Kiwi Farms, just so you know, okay? I've been a very vocal opponent of Kiwi Farms when they.
Yeah, I
like,
would say that would be really fucked up. Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that too. I would say
Alright.
if Keffel's got doxed, it would be really fucked up. I have.
Okay, I just feel, and I think this is really true, right? That when Destiny
I
got
feel
doxed,
a lot of things are
there
true that
was,
are
there was
true.
it was taken way more seriously by these side of communities on the internet than
No,
when like
no,
Keffels got
actually,
doxed. No, that
actually,
absolutely
Destiny
is
has
true.
been doxed. Destiny has been doxed repeatedly for ages. Okay, nobody even knows when the new Destiny dox drops because he's just been doxed so many goddamn times. I guarantee you, if you ask people in the commentary community, have they covered anything about Destiny getting doxed? In fact, I encourage you find a single tweet from anybody in the commentary community who's covered Destiny being doxed. Anyone who's prominent. Go
No,
for it.
but the point is here, right?
No, the point is wrong, right? You don't have any examples of this because obviously none of this has been happening. Even if Destiny got doxed recently, nobody's covering Destiny getting doxed, right? This
Do
isn't like
you
a big thing.
Do you think that Nicholas Duro massively downplayed the doxing of Keffels? You know, this
Massively
happens to be true.
downplayed it? No, he
Yeah,
said it
yeah,
was
yeah.
bad.
No. He said, okay.
Yeah, he said he didn't support doxing actually explicitly.
said-
It's in the tweet.
He pretty much said that she effectively got what she was asking for, right? But I could
Well,
make the same
she,
point.
She did,
But I
right?
could make the
if
same
you go
point
to
about
war with
Destiny.
Kiwi
I could make
Farms,
the
you will
same
get
point about
doxed.
Destiny. Destiny went to war with the online groyper community, with the far right, with neo-Nazis online, who are
Yeah,
all
dude.
wildly known
And if
for
Destiny,
like
if
doxing people
Destiny
and
also,
publishing of
yes,
private
if
information.
Destiny was stupid enough to go directly have Kiwi Farms and like do all these things that would make them like make him a highly targeted person on Kiwi Farms, then of course, yeah, no, that
went
seems to like
after 4chan.
follow.
He
It's
went
still
after
really
4chan.
fucked.
He went after 4chan.
Yeah, dude, and he got doxed. Like, yeah, totally. The shit's gonna fucking come to you. Nobody
do
complained
not.
about Destiny getting like these things that you're saying just are not true, right? Like people in the commentary don't like care a fuck ton about Destiny getting doxxed either. Like people get doxxed all the fucking time on the internet. Large figures get doxxed all the fucking time. People around me have gotten doxxed, and they don't even make a slightly large deal about it. If you legitimately think that people in the commentary community would freak the fuck out if Destiny got doxxed, then why isn't that happening?
I think the argument is we should be applying a great social stigmatization.
That wasn't your original argument. Your original argument is that I cared differently about that I had like spite or malice towards Keffals, which you have not been able to substantiate at all. Everything I've said about Keffals has been true throughout this conversation. I haven't even gone like super hard against Keffals. I have the most moderate take on Keffals out of anybody.
Moderate take? What are you?
Yes, I have a very moderate take about Keffals. What take about Keffals do you think I have that is unreasonable?
That she was asking for it. I believe this is sort of a victim
Do you think that it is a wildly
Yes,
different thing that would happen, or like a wildly unpredictable thing that this wouldn't follow, right, in anybody else's mind? That if you do certain things, like you go after Kiwi Farm, you kind of victimize yourself in certain ways, like playing up like how much things affect you, that won't lead to you getting doxxed. You think that is like...
Well, she's not victimizing herself. She is a victim, right?
Well, no, she was victimizing herself. In fact, she still is victimizing herself more so than she actually is a victim. It's still happening, Prag. I can show you this to you. It's super obvious to everybody else except for you.
She's a victim. Okay, so here's the bit of the problem we have here. This is what I call victim blaming, right? It's where we reduce the moral culpability, right, of the person who's doing the harm, and we disproportionately put all the weight of who's at fault here onto the person who is the victim.
No, I have never said that. I'm very against doxing. I never said that it was all on Keffals, right?
No.
That's not what I said.
This is like, I feel like if someone was stuff, you would be like,
dude.
well, were you wearing a short skirt? Okay, I feel like this would like be the argument you would pose here, right?
Well, no, I wouldn't pose that argument, right? But like one thing that I would say is like you probably shouldn't be going to places that like have a higher chance of you getting raped, right? That's like a bad decision.
After a person had been raped, is that what you'd say to someone?
Well, not directly to that person. I would have probably worded it a little bit differently, of course, right? But that doesn't make the statement untrue. Well, no,
okay,
I wouldn't say it to that person, right? I feel like people are pretty... Oh my god, you're making these claims about me. You don't even let me respond to them. It's a fucking insufferable conversation. No, I probably wouldn't say that to the person directly. But if somebody kept doing something that put them in a bad situation, right? I might take them aside as a friend and be like, hey, dude, it's probably not a good idea. Right? So, for example, if my friend went down to the ghetto, right, and he waved $100 bills over his head repeatedly, got robbed once, I'd be like, okay, he probably learned his lesson. I don't have to like talk to him about that. But if he kept doing it over and over and over again, I might take that friend aside and be like, hey, dude, you should probably stop doing that. It seems to lead to bad things for you. Right? I'm not saying that stealing isn't wrong by that statement. Those two statements could be both true at the exact same time.
Okay, so here's the issue with this, right? Vosh never went after Kiwi Farms, yet a lot of public information about him got out there. Xanderhall never went after Kiwi Farms. Yet a lot of public information about them over there. It seems to have no impact. It seems to have no impact on whether you go to war with Kiwi Farms or not, to whether you are going to be doxxed or not. It doesn't seem to have much of an impact.
Just because people have been doxxed who didn't go to war with Kiwi Farms. Are you done? Okay, sweet. So just because people have been doxxed by Kiwi Farms who didn't go to war with Kiwi Farms doesn't mean that it doesn't raise the likelihood of getting doxxed if you go to war with Kiwi Farms, especially in the way that Keffals did. That does not follow from your statement. That's an insane person statement. It's like saying, like, oh yeah, I went to war with a bunch of people. Like, for example, I did this, right? Back in the early times that I was on the internet, I went after a bunch of people who were known for doxing. I did a lot of info security shit before that happened. I went to war with those people. Now, those people had doxed people before who didn't go against them, right? Those people had doxed people before, but me going against them was primed to make me a target, and everybody else could see that to be the case. And that's why I prepared for something like that happening, right? Like, these can both be true at the same time. You think you're making an argument, but you're not. It's so obvious to everybody else in the room this doesn't actually follow.
Okay, so here's the issue with the I'm a truth seeker, right? There's a bit of an issue with this, right?
This has nothing to do with the argument. Do you want to talk about this now?
It does.
Okay. Let's go to this topic. What's this topic about?
This all connects to your wider perspective.
This doesn't all connect. You're just jumping around on topics. You're getting beat on every single one. You're jumping to something else you think you can defend better. It's obvious. But go for it. Let's see how well you can defend this statement.
So the issue with me is a lot of the time I do my best before I say something to judge the benefits and the negatives about saying that thing. for
Of
example.
course. Yeah.
Right? No, I don't think you do this, Bunk. I think you actually, a lot of the times, like, you don't do this.
Give
Right?
me an
And
example
I
where I
don't
didn't
believe
do
there's
this.
I think you value the truth as such an axiomatic value that even if it leads to
Nope,
social
I
harm
never
and
said I
consequences,
held the truth as an axiomatic value. In fact, in a debate with you earlier, so you couldn't have missed this, and I know you're lying about what you think my positions are, right? You would have asked me if the only way of having good things happen would be to lie, would I lie? Yes, I would 100% lie.
are you willing to bite the bullet on the idea that if you knew someone was going to commit suicide, if like you didn't say they look good in that dress, you'd tell them they look good in that dress even if they
Oh,
didn't?
of course. Fuck yeah, I would tell them
Okay.
that they look good in the dress. You'd be insane to think otherwise. But you see, you make up positions for me, and then you try and argue against those. You don't actually argue against any of my positions, because you know you can't beat me on any of them, which is why you've had to jump topics so many times during
Okay,
this
well
discussion.
then I would have to just conclude that you are like bad at assessing political consequences. I would just have to assume.
What do you mean? My dude, you sound
So what do I mean
insane.
by that? Okay, so I'll go through what I mean by that, right? So, for example,
Sure, go for it.
I'll give you an idea, right? I acknowledge that Hassan does bad things, right? That he can be a bit of a frivolous spender. That sometimes he's not completely truthful, right, in what he says. But I'm not going to withdraw my support for Hassan because the net benefit of Hassan having like the largest Twitch streamer, be like a leftist, be a socialist,
I'm
having
not
him
saying
like do
that
good
Keffel should be
advocacy, right?
deplatformed or something crazy like that. I just think Keffel should act differently, right? That's just like basic criticism.
But
I'm sorry
do
that
you
you can't
think-
understand that you can criticize people and still not be 100% against them. This is why I said I think I have the most moderate take on Keffels ever that somebody could possibly have.
But don't you think, like more broadly, that like leftists should probably like with the online left should be withdrawing their support for Keffels?
No. When did I say that? Can you show me a
Well,
statement where I said that?
well, it just seems implied by like how hard you go against.
They should be withdrawing some of their support.
Well, some of the support,
I
but
disagree.
broadly, every single person completely detracting
Prag, you don't
support
disagree.
sets
You
them
don't
apart.
disagree. You don't disagree that some of the money they spent to her should have gone to other causes.
Yeah. No. I'm talking in terms of like
So some of the
as in
support should have been gone
who
away.
we've. Okay, no. So I'm not. So you misunderstand me. I don't mean like financial support. And when I'm talking about support, I mean support
Yeah,
as
I'm
in
talking
this
all
person
support.
is okay. This person, I mean support as in this person is an online like leftist content creator.
Like, should they
It's-
be
it-
deplatformed or not? Like
no,
what do you mean by, like, withdrawing
not
support?
deplatform. For example, there are like most of the online left, for example, doesn't support Mike from PA, right? Because Mike from PA is like retarded, and Mike from PA probably like overwhelmingly is probably like a net negative to like the online left. So like most of the online left like doesn't support the like Mike from PA. I think that's a good thing, right?
Do you think I can criticize somebody without saying that like a large amount of support should be withdrawn from them? Do you think that, like, the criticism can act as like helping somebody act in a different way?
I think Keffels gets so much hate from so sides that even the decent criticism she gets just like falls into like the hateful rubble. I don't think it actually like is impactful in any way.
Criticizing Keffels is like a bad thing.
Don't think it's a bad thing.
If she's objectively wrong on like what she's doing, I shouldn't criticize her then. That would follow.
I think it was unnecessary in terms of the rape
Do you think
stuff.
I should criticize her? I'm not asking if it's unnecessary or not. I do think I should criticize her. Give me a straight answer. If she's wrong, she's objectively wrong in something that she's doing.
To criticizing her, you should criticize her.
Yeah, I think there's a utilitarian benefit to criticizing somebody.
Okay, I do not think there was a
if
utilitarian.
If they're doing something wrong, I do think there's, generally speaking, a utilitarian benefit to criticizing them. I think that's why we criticize people. The argument you make could like go against all criticism at this point.
The difference is is that it seems that, and I think this is broadly true, that like leftist content creators get like way more harsher criticism than like people who like aren't identifiably as are leftists, right? And so it seems like broadly, right, the consequences of criticizing the online left with people who already get like enough criticism, like as it is, it's definitely like Keffels is not necessarily short of criticism. It seems that we have to be careful about how we go about that, and we have to make sure it's like productive.
Yeah, we have to make sure it's productive. So I like one way that's like going to be productive is I'm giving like true criticism that's like on point and on base to like reality, right? That would be like one way that could be like more productive than others, right? So like that's what I do.
Okay, so I do not think it was like necessary in terms of, even though Keffels made a false statement about Destiny, right? She also retracted it like 30 seconds later. So it didn't seem to be necessary to go really hard against her on that issue because
I didn't go
she already
really hard
retracted
against her on the issue.
And Bachota retracted it. It seems like that was something that like wasn't
But
acknowledged enough, like in most
well,
conversations,
no,
right?
everybody did acknowledge it. In fact, it was brought up multiple times in the one conversation that I had. The one conversation, by the way, I didn't go that hard against her. It's like it's just complete mischaracterization.
But why go hard against someone at all if they've already retracted?
I didn't go hard against her. I just criticized her for it. I think it was irresponsible with the platform. Even if you end up retracting it, it does show a tendency to be irresponsible with the platform, right? And that was actually true. My prediction was actually bared out in reality, right? She went on to make all other claims about people which were just false, right? So it seems that I was actually directly on point in my criticism. My prediction was 100% true. What I thought was evidence for being irresponsible with their platform, she ended up being irresponsible with their platform. I came to the correct conclusion there. I think that it was obvious that I would come to the correct conclusion there.
So when someone is using that platform in a responsible manner, we have to take all their actions into account, not just the ones we dislike, right?
Sure.
I hold
so,
the same principle for Destiny, just so we are aware, right? I hold that overall, even with Destiny's like benefits, that overall he's like a net negative, right? I'm not
but
just
people can make actions which show that they're irresponsible with their platform without being a net negative, right?
Sure. So when are you saying Keffels is irresponsible with her platform? Are you saying overall she's irresponsible with platform?
She's irresponsible with allegations she makes on her platform. I should be more specific.
I would not disagree with that she needs to like be more careful. In fact, one of the biggest criticisms I have of Keffels.
That was my criticism. You agree with me. You would 100% agree with me. Okay, so what's your problem with my Keffels coverage now?
Why I'll agree with you, right? I don't think it's like the problem is I can agree with something and also think that overall it's like not a criticism that needs to like be made if other people are already making it. Would be like I guess.
But other people weren't making it in the best way possible, though, right? People were making that statement in a really, really stupid way. A lot of DJGers were hopping on that in a stupid way. So whenever I'm on my platform, I like to lead people towards, for example, things that I think are generally true, because I think that people knowing things that are generally true leads to better outcomes than not.
I agree that the truth can lead to better outcomes.
I think generally speaking, people believing true things leads to better outcomes. In fact, you believe that as well, unless you're changing your position again for the sake of a debate, which you do a lot, that you believe that as well.
I believe that the truth can, a lot of the time, leads people to better outcomes. But I also acknowledge there are probably times, right, when if other people are already saying the truth, it doesn't need to be said by me, right? That's like that's my position here. It always has been my position here, right?
It doesn't need to be said. What? Okay, hold on. Okay. So, what's the problem, right? Like, who else was making that criticism in a way that was like 100% accurate, 100% true?
Was it Chud Logic making that criticism in a way that was 100% accurate, 100% true?
I don't know. Was he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Chud Logic. Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah. Well,
last time you brought up Chud Logic, that wasn't true. Did he do it before I did? It was literally the night that the clip dropped.
It wasn't the night that the clip dropped.
What's up, niggas?
Oh, so I made the criticism first. Okay, so that's good. Do you have anybody who did it before me that I like that way the video like reasonably known about?
All right, no, I don't. Okay.
All right. Sweet. All right. Sick.
Creeper.
Right,
Stop.
But I wouldn't expect like I guess for me, I see it as like she made a bad statement, she retracted it within 30 seconds. Like,
yeah, but somebody making a bad statement, just because they retracted the statement doesn't show that like they might be doing like irresponsible things, right? So like, for example, I can make a stupid statement, but people can also criticize the way that I come to that stupid statement. For me, it's not as much about you being wrong, it's more so about why you're wrong that I'm going to be like concerned about, right? So for example, the reason why I'm wrong is because I don't look into things before I like make statements on my stream that are about really, really specific, really large allegations, right? That could be indication of the way that I'm running my show might be actually inaccurate or like bad or potential to lead to other bad things, right? So somebody pointing that out to me, I think could be really, really good.
So the morality of it aside, I just don't know if this is how like the average person does things. I think there is
Keffels is not the average person. Keffels is a streamer who was able to raise $100,000. Keffels is not the average person. I totally agree with you. There should be way more responsibility on Keffels.
So a lot of the times when people hear stories about people, right, a lot of the time they hear them from trusted sources. That's effectively what I did in the Nat situation. Okay. And so a lot of people like, oh, they heard this thing. they trust the person they heard it from, and so they assume it to be true, and then they say something and they make a mistake and like, oh shit, sorry. And that's generally how these things go, right? For example, right? Let's say
Sure,
that
but if
let's say
I
that
don't look into things before I make statements, right? So like there clearly weren't trusted sources. We're not saying that Destiny stealth people. Can you name and no? So any notable source that was like trusted that said Destiny stealth people? Anybody who's like close to the situation? Anybody?
no, I
No, you
agreed.
can't.
I agree. There
So
wasn't. I
trusted
agree,
sources
but
didn't
I
say
wasn't
that.
talking.
So she didn't do her
Hold
due diligence in looking into it.
on. But I don't know who she was talking to and who she heard that from at the time, and how close that person was to her, and how much she trusted
Yeah,
that person.
we don't
as,
know
like,
anything for a
sort of,
fact
like,
though, right? But if she knew something she said something that was like very, very bad, and then she also said that she didn't know whether it was true or not, right? Those are probably indications that she didn't do her due diligence in the situation. You're basically using the argument against me that's like, okay, we don't have 100% proof this is the case. Yeah, but we have like really good reasons to believe this is the case.
So if I say, because I'm pretty sure the way she said it was, didn't Destiny stealth someone? Isn't that what she said? And so
No,
that
Destiny
is.
literally stealths people. That was what she said.
Oh, okay. If that's what she
No,
said, well,
that's just completely
okay.
wrong. She made a very strong statement. I have the clip if you'd like to watch it.
I trust your word on that.
Alright, sweet.
Okay then. I agree that probably was bad. But I also think it was good that like she retracted the statement 30 seconds later.
No,
That's
probably
what matters
good,
most to me.
but she also came to the conclusion using really, really flawed reasoning for that conclusion. That's bad. It shows that she has a tendency to be pretty irresponsible with the allegations she makes on her platform. She's done so as well in the future. So yeah, like everything I'm saying is like 100% true. I just don't see what the disagreement is.
I think the disagreement, and maybe like I don't know if this is not like fair enough. The disagreement, I guess, is on like strategy, right? The
Although
disagreement is
so
strategy.
far you've agreed with every single bit of strategy that you've actually had to like bicker with me over it, right? Like it just every single time we have these arguments, you're just like immediately moving to my position. You don't like you like I don't know why you can't just concede the argument. You jump from point to point to point to point and have to concede each one of them. But like what the fuck do you want me to do? I could have debating you about this for fucking hours. You could concede every single point. I just don't know why you have such a strong opinion about these things. If the arguments that you have are going to be conceded after like only a couple of minutes.
Do you remember ages ago we had that debate about the Socratic method?
Oh, yep.
I form a lot of my positions through the Socratic method a lot of the time.
You're doing very poorly with it.
I really hold the Socratic method on higher standards than to assume that you're doing it correctly.
Cool. Alright. Oh yeah. With the Chud Logic stuff, Paul. I remember there are a lot of people who've like believe Chud Logic is a pedophile, right? Because a lot of people have heard like
Super
broken up
biased.
stories about like that version. So I mean, to me, that's like a broader issue. That's like a way broader issue. But I agree. Like she should have done her like deep dive. So here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Destiny seems to believe Chud's version. There are people who believe Chud's version. There are people who believe like the other person's version. From what I like understand.
What's the reason to believe the other person's version?
I don't even know, right? And so this is just like surface level knowledge that I have the situation. I haven't done a deep dive myself into this situation. I tend to think that it's unlikely that the girl's version is right, just based off the idea that I sort of believe that if Chud Logic had been outed as like an actual pedophile, right? He wouldn't have survived in the online left, it seems. It seems very unlikely. But again, I haven't done like a deep dive in it, so I don't like know that much information. But from what I understand, because every time I talk to someone about
Yeah,
this,
but
it's
really
sort of like
stupid. For example, you were to boot up a stream at this point and say like, "Oh yeah, he's like definitively a pedophile," right? That'd be like really stupid because you don't know anything about it.
everybody seems to be
dumb.
like getting information from like other people in order to determine like whose story they believe on like the Chud Logic like pedophile story.
And if they're talking about it publicly on their platform, they should not just be going by hearsay.
True. But yeah, I like yeah. I don't know much about that situation though. So I'm not gonna give like a definitive answer on that. Anyone could be right in that situation. I have no fucking idea. Yeah, I like Chud personally. Like personally, I really like the guy. So I have an obviously overwhelming bias to believe that like he's not one. But yeah, I should probably look into it though.
Prag.
I club pedophiles because I'm not one.
Prag.
What?
Earlier you said that an issue you had with Destiny donating his money to Kiwi Forums was the effective altruist reason, right?
Yeah.
How much of an issue do you have with Keffels donating the money that she was given by a bunch of motherfuckers to herself?
I have an issue with that as well. I don't think she should have done that.
Yeah, but what do you think she should have done with the money instead?
Should have actually like donated it to like some effective trans charity.
Okay, then how much money do you think Keffel's wasted? Not an effective trans charity, right? She should donate to an effective charity. Probably one for like the starving African children who have things a lot worse than the average trans person. How much money do you think she?
I mean, I'd
wasted
rather
on
be
that shit?
trans than black, though. So I don't know how true that statement.
Wait, that's my
is.
point. It's you'd rather be trans than black.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
You're actually right. You're right.
There
Sorry,
we-
I'm
there we
wrong.
go.
I've been blown the fuck out in the debate.
Checkmate.
I'm already black.
That's true. But Prag.
That sucks.
How much bad do you think Prag? Did you think Keffels did with that?
Probably a lot. But
Okay,
not
probably a lot worse than Destiny did, right? With the hypothetically thinking about wanting to donate money to Kiwi farms, right? Keffels probably did much worse.
Yeah. Keffels definitely did much worse. I still don't think it would make like Destiny like donating to Kiwi farms to be like a morally good decision.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
My point is
People
just you said earlier in the conversation that the Destiny was the worst left-wing streamer. I'm just telling you, no. He's one of the worst, but he's up there with Keffels.
Sure. I guess like I think the difference for me is that when I'm talking about bad people, I'm talking about number one in terms of our political ideas. I think Destiny probably like has worse political ideas than like Keffels does, right?
What makes
So
an
this
idea
is the thing I would.
political?
Okay, I was just gonna interject one thing. I think that's actually a really bad standard of judging people for how bad they are. I think people like there's a really low correlation between having good political ideas and being a good person. That seems to be like a really
Almost seems like there's
poorly
an inverse
correlated thing.
correlation.
Like an inverse correlation even. I think I've met more people who are like completely apolitical who are good people than people who are like left leaning and leaning in good good politically. I feel like it's really easy to conflate those two.
I feel so I think I disagree with that to some extent in that I think
Me
like
too.
if you are like I think like if you're like for maximizing like I guess like utility, which is like I guess how I'd broadly describe like someone being a good person, it seems like that would lead
Disagree.
you to like left wing ideas.
No, not necessarily, right? Like
I think that generally like left wing people are on average better than right wing people because right wing beliefs are rooted in shit values, but
yeah, but there's
I
more
think
people who are
divisions-
right leaning and left leaning. There are people who like don't do like almost any political research at all, right? There are people who have like pretty central beliefs about things, and there
Yeah,
are people who
obviously.
like never
Those
consider
are-
anything
but those
politically.
aren't gonna sway it in either direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prag,
Alright.
what do you mean by a political idea? What makes an idea political?
More to me like being more anti-hierarchy than pro-hierarchy probably. Like you generally have the belief
then effective
like,
altruism is a political idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that would be a reason why Keffels is a bad person because of her bad political idea, not in terms of not being an effective altruist.
Okay, and so do you think like, and so you once told me, Synth, right, that you believe that Destiny's a net negative and like he needs to be like his impact needs to be limited, right?
Yeah.
Do you hold the same thing for Keffels?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
I don't for
Like,
Vosh. I think he's a massive net positive.
And so you think like leftists should withdraw their support for Keffels?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Seeing that tweet that she made about the fucking Ukrainian shit was just like that was just like a throwing into the trash moment. Did you see that shit?
The one about her like wanting to report like Kiwi farms to the Ukrainian government for Russian misinformation, whatever.
No. Her wanting her Ukrainian viewers to go shoot up the Kiwi Farms offices or the offices that host Kiwi Farms that have probably have no
that's
idea
another
that the website has that on there.
All right, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah,
pretty
she's
bad.
just a piece of shit, like an
That's
abominably bad
insane.
person.
Holy shit! Can you link that?
It's on Warner's page, Sophist something.
Holy fuck! That is unhinged. That is actually so what? Like this takes
What
like a
about
minute
a
to
retreat?
get into my head. This is the
I don't know.
craziest shit I've had in a while. This is like actual fucking. Like she should be jailed for this.
She
Or at
didn't-
least-
What do you guys think about,
she's not gonna get jailed because she just made the implication extremely fucking obvious.